It's a bit of a misconception about going out into the nature, because even as we dwell in our houses, our concrete caves, just because everything's been concreted over in the cities doesn't mean that we're not in the nature. The nature is there. We rely upon the elements, the water supply, the heat in the form of fire, and the food, and all of this comes from the nature. It is the nature. We do not escape the nature. It's just been changed and made domesticated, and obviously money gets charged for it, so we become totally disjointed from the nature, when in actual fact it's always here. And so that's one reason why I like to come for a walk into the nature, to remind myself of the elements, to remind myself of the flow. Yeah, it's the nature is one of our greatest teachers, really, or our nature, the whole cosmos. We need to use our senses, and when we leave the beaten track and find our own path, vigilance. We need vigilance, and we need presence. We need to be present. It's okay to stay on the track and to think and talk to ourselves in our minds, but as soon as we get off into the realms, we need vigilance, which means that we need to use our senses. And it's not a matter of counting how many senses you've got. It's simple. Smell. We can smell tree sap, we can smell leaves, we can smell smoke and fire and other things. Hearing, we can hear leaves and twigs snapping, things coming and going. We can see the different shades of green and different shades of brown. And all of this gives us guides, and watching the animals and what they do. And so vigilance is like, if you heard some falling rocks coming down, the best thing to do would be to hide behind one of these trees. Or if the rain was coming, it'd be good to find a shelter. So vigilance is staying present at all times, so that if you saw a shelter or a place before, you would remember it. You don't need to make a mental note of things, because if you stay present and don't keep going back into thoughts, then everything is stored anyway, and you'll see it in your mind's eye. But the problem is, what we tend to do is we replay and replay our thoughts and memories, and get basically it's like an editing suite, an editing room, where we keep looking back at the footage that we've just filmed. Meanwhile, the camera's still rolling, but it's filming the footage that we've just taken. So we're creating these delay repeats by not staying present. Even by me just talking my head off now in nature, I'm just asleep, essentially. So I'm going to take a nice little walk and just keep my senses totally awake. Feel my heart and my stomach and everything. Feel what's coming in. Feel the temperature and the smells. And stay completely aware. And that is the best spiritual practice. In my opinion, nothing else is necessary. No words, no explanations. So yeah, just for a little bit of fun, I'm going to scale this hill. It's quite steep. It's about, I don't know, and I'm barefoot. And so it just shows you that the forest floor, especially where I am at the moment, it can be, this first bit's quite steep, so I'll just go up as fast as I can. I'm not going to make it. Yes. It's not easy with a stick in one hand and a camera in the other. But we're getting there. As you can see, it's not too bad, so I'll go over to where it's a bit worse. You know, there's a lot of plants and things that you can look at on the way, and there's some really nice herbs and wild salad foods and things that you can use, but we can just be here in a playful way. So I'm just going to walk up here. As you can see, it's not too bad. feet are okay. There's a lot of things to get stung on, nettles and stuff, but the feet are pretty amazing. You'll notice at night how the hands and the feet get really warm and they heal at lightning speed. The other day I cut my foot open. It was really quite deep. It didn't hurt, and I pulled out a piece of sharp stone and sealed it up again. Waited 5 minutes, continued walking. Haven't done anything else since then. Some people would say, oh, you'd have to go to the doctors. It's not my way of doing things. So I am at the campfire again, my little campfire. I've just built this little oven and it's nice to warm the old feet and sit down and enjoy a cup of tea. I wasn't going to make a fire today, I was just going to go for a walk, but it started raining and luckily I had a few things in my bag, a saw and stuff, so it's really blowing a gale now. Really raining out there. Yeah, it's a really nice way to live without plans. All my fire's picking up. The wind's really getting heavy. Luckily I'm secure in this cave here. And so you can see my little fire's burning nicely, and I've got some potatoes in, and I've collected these some dandelion leaves and nettles to make a little salad of something to spice up the potatoes. Got a little metal cup on there. So this isn't really allowance. It's not really allowed to make just a fire anywhere in the forest, but allowance is something you get from somebody else. As before, as I mentioned on another video, you know, you can't be on a mission if you need permission. You know, you need a babysitter all the time. And so as soon as you start asking for permission, you're making other people responsible for your own actions. So it's better off just being very careful, very cautious, taking great responsibility and taking the risk to do something without, I've got a soot on my face, without permission. And you know, so that if you had a situation where somebody came, like the forester or some kids or whatever, especially the forester, you know, people who care for the forest, you know, they're there to look after the forest. So, but if you've got a good reason, you know, like here, it's raining, so nothing's going to burn. I've got a nice decent little fire that I can put out at the end and put some water on it. And so you see, not everybody can just make a fire in the forest, because the forests are just burned down, because unfortunately there's a lot of people who are not trained in making fires. I mean, you know, I've been trained in sort of limited bushcraft since I was a little kid, you know, always going on to the Yorkshire Moors and the Peak District and the Lake District and Scotland, Wales, and doing a lot of climbing. And when you rock climbing, you always take some survival gear with you, so you can make a fire and you can collect water and stuff. Absolute essential. And it's a shame that not everybody was learned in these skills, because the basic skills, you know, earth, wind, water, fire, and most of it's like, you know, the knowledge. You don't need anything to survive, really, if you know how. I mean, I'm still learning about plants, and there's so much to learn, and it's just great. But this is so nice, just to be able to allow yourself to do something with caution and care. So here we've got a nice hot potato with some nettles and dandelion leaves to spice it up. I've got a nice cup of tea. This is the good life. Well, sometimes a bit cold, but yeah, it's really good. You know, just pick a few nettles. You have to be careful not to sting yourself. Cheers. You know, everything's natural really. You know, all the food that we eat comes from the ground, from the earth. Everything comes from the earth. We come from the earth. Isn't it amazing? You know, everything that Mummy eats makes us what we are. Yeah, so, thanks for watching.